So hi, I'm Tiara. I work at the Ottawa Jail Hostel, downtown Ottawa. The cool thing about this place is it used to be an old jail in Ottawa. It was opened in 1872 and it's been open up until 1973. It is very haunted apparently, but it depends what you kind of believe in. You want to go ahead?
Sure, thank you.
No worries. Okay, so yeah, so this is the entrance. And then this is kind of where they ended up putting guardrails in because the prisoners were throwing guards over. So 2 guards actually died, that we know of at least. And they were thrown over the edge just because 2 prisoners escaped. And then I believe 1 prisoner committed suicide. So anyways, they threw the guardrails up. And then in the back, they have guardrails as well, but they put them in like maybe a year ago. So yeah, so it's kind of crazy. And then down here is actually where the old chapel used to be. So this is where the guards would kind of check on everything. So yeah, so this is the chapel kind of area. This was actually the chapel before, but it was now it's kind of closed and it became a bar. So but now the bar's closed, so we don't even have a bar anymore, unfortunately. But we serve breakfast at least out of here. And these are all the old chapel benches originally from before in the jail. So they just kept everything and kept them all nice and neat and tidy and refurbished them a little bit. And then you have mugshot area here. So this is where they brought the prisoners in and they would do all the mug shots and everything. They would shave their heads and spray down their bodies, scrub their bodies down for any spreading of diseases and bacteria and stuff like that, so that they'd be all set and ready to go into their cells. At one point, the cells got too crowded, so they started packing 6 prisoners into 1 cell at a time. So diseases became really common during that time. This is solitary confinement. So this is where people would go, be put in here pretty much all day. They'd have maybe a 15-minute break during the day and then just be re-put back in here. Sometimes they wouldn't even get fed and they would actually be spread eagle naked lying on the floor here. And if they actually were allowed to leave, they had to put the metal ball on their foot. And that's for 15 minutes during the day, so it's kind of lame. So this is kind of where they start them off, spray them down. They'd actually be chained up along here and waiting to go inside. Because they wouldn't bring, sometimes they would bring 1 person, but sometimes they'd bring groups of people at a time too, depending on what year it was. And then this here, you can't really see, but this is the tunnel, the original tunnel that they brought the prisoners up through from the courthouse in Ottawa. So it's pretty exciting. I really want to explore it, but I'm not allowed to. And then, so it's kind of crappy out, but this is the courtyard. Do you want to go? Can you? Okay, so this is where death row leads. Well, how do you get to death row? So if you look above, that's where people got dropped from to be hung. There's actually, if you look there, there's a pigeon's nest that's always there too. So when people come out, it coos at night. So people get freaked out. They think it's a ghost or something. But yeah, so this, and then this is the courtyard too as well. So prisoners would come out here and they would actually hang out during the day. This would be their free time, their fresh air and everything. And then they would actually go back into their jail cells after. Down here, I'm kind of doing it backwards in a way, but this is remember the guardrails I was telling you about? So they put those up because the front ones had them, so they wanted to make it look more authentic. But really, we kind of took it out of our tour, but this was all damaged here before. It was, you can kind of see from what it was before, but when the bodies would be hung from the inside for hangings that weren't shown to the public, they wouldn't drop them down. They would literally cut the rope and let the bodies fall to the floors. So this whole area was just destroyed. The boards were all broken and battered up and everything. So it's kind of creepy. And then, yeah, so you come up here and this is like death row area. This is where all the tours go. So like Haunted Walks does this stuff. That's why it's all like do not enter for the hostelers. Oh yeah, so this is where people got hung. So this is actually where Patrick James Whelan was hung. And his body was actually supposed to be buried in Montreal. He was supposed to be transferred there after. And what happened was you know the bridge like right beside us, the bus bridge? They like unraveled the bus bridge, starting to build it and everything, and like dug up the ground. And I guess they found like 100+ bodies that were from the jail buried underneath the ground outside of it. So, and a lot of them were not registered. Like they weren't actually prisoners or anything like that. They were, you know, they were debtors. So like if they didn't have any money or anything like that, they'd come in here, pay off their debt, and then they were allowed to leave. But if they didn't pay off their debt, they'd literally live here. So they'd be just like working and like paying off their stuff until they were released, I guess, or until they could like afford to live by themselves. So yeah, so crazy stuff. This is the beam here that people were hung from, apparently from unregistered hangings. So any hangings that were not like public, they would do inside here. And like I said, they would just drop the bodies down all the way to the bottom, which is freaking far if you think about it. Like that's ridiculous. And this is like guards too. Like, I don't know, it's freaky. These are the guards' quarters. So these are where most of the guards would stay during while they're actually taking care of prisoners and stuff. So some guards actually didn't have homes. Like they would actually just live here. They didn't have families, nothing like that. It was like just literally their job was to just look after the prisoners. Eventually it became a debtors prison. So a lot of the guards would actually, they would have to have families staying here. So you'd have kids and everything like that, moms and stuff, and they'd be cooking and they would be paying off their debts for either their husbands or themselves or whatever else. And yeah, that's when all the diseases started becoming super bad. There's too many people here. There's lots of deaths here too. So sometimes the death toll was super high. So it was constant. So they had a problem keeping up with it. So that's why they ended up burying bodies outside of the jail, so it didn't contaminate the grounds or anything like that. So there's just lots of crazy things that happened. Oh yeah, so this here, so that one right up there, I don't know if you want to go back up a little bit. This against the wall here is where the torture chambers used to be. So there's actually a chamber behind there. And that's literally where they would punish prisoners and do all their crazy things. There's a punishment book downstairs as well that kind of explains what kind of punishments they use for certain things, but we're not actually allowed looking into it until, like I said, the 50 years after. So yeah, we're kind of waiting for that, I guess. And then there's another torture chamber that's just down here as well. And any walls that you see like this, they also used to be passages, but some of us don't know what they used to be or anything like that. So there's a little bit of mystery there. This is actually easier for the jail look. At least you can see what it looks like.
So this is where people would stay when they
So this is the jail cell side. So this is these are all prisoner cells. So there'd be maybe 2-3 people in these cells at a time. And then, yeah, they'd be doing their sentences or paying off their debts here. Oh yeah, on all the floors, the glass here. So this is actually new. A lot of the windows didn't have any glass or anything, so people would freeze to death all the time. The 8th floor was the worst for that because solitary confinement's up there, and you'd be butt naked, obviously, lying in the cell, and during the winter times, you would freeze. There's no chance you would survive. They didn't have any heat or anything like that, so the chances of you surviving the winter in jail would be very slim. Especially if you were broke and you couldn't afford food or clothing or anything like that. Some people would not be obviously well dressed either, right? But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for here. The bathroom on the 8th floor is haunted. So even before the prison was closed, they actually thought that the bathroom upstairs was haunted, so they boarded it up, and it hasn't been used since. So that's kind of cool. Some ghost things, people will come, it's so funny. People will go into the room and then they'll you know, stay there for maybe an hour. They'll come back later, like frantic, and they'll say like, oh, I saw a ghost, you know, like all these things. And I'm like, oh, like sometimes I have to like encourage it. I'm like, oh yeah, because they want to know, like they want to see ghosts and stuff. But sometimes I'm like, they literally want to leave because they think it's so haunted, you know. So they'll be like, I want my money back. Like I can't stay here. Like my aura is just like all over the place and stuff. So it's like, it's funny. You get like all these different types of people expecting something different, right? Sometimes people will like go on the 8th floor and then like they'll like come back down and they'll have like bruises on their arms. So like one girl, her and her friend went on the 8th floor and they were playing Ouija board because we have the Ouija boards downstairs. And like she comes, she's like, I never said goodbye, you know. She's like, they're all joking about it. And then like the next morning, she literally had like these 3 little kid fingerprints on her arm, and we were all like kind of like, okay, skeptical, like obviously about it. But no, like they ended up like, they were itty bitty, like little, like they couldn't have been like a full grown woman or anything. Anyway, they're just like really weird. So like everyone was thinking that it was haunted because they're like, oh, well, you know, you didn't say goodbye on the Ouija board. So like, they're like, you know, it's like crazy stuff like that. I think it's a will, or what do you call those before, crap, my brain is, before you die, like a will, but not like a statement, like
last will and testament.
Yeah, last will and testament. So, I guess this guy was like writing, and he's the only one who wrote that, and it was like on a piece of toilet paper, because this is like their toilet paper back then, like, and it's actually still, you can see that it's still connected and everything. And then some people were saying that it's a suicide note, but if you read it, it looks like a will, like it's exactly what they're saying it is. It's a will and testament. So anyway, and then these are old cigarette packs that we found in the back courtyard that some of the prisoners used to smoke / guards. This I'm actually not sure. I'm actually not sure what that is. No one really told me, to be honest. Those are that one over there is the punishment book, but that's pretty much all I know in this case. So these are all the punishment tools that they use. So like their handcuffs and everything. This is like their beating paddles, their chains and all that. And you saw the ball chain downstairs. And then like this is, like I said, like the punishment book, but we're not allowed looking at it. Like, wouldn't that be like very interesting?
It's like, what's the Army of Darkness? It's like
oh yeah, it is actually. That's so true. I forgot about that movie. That movie, I watched it recently too, but it's exactly like that. You like pick it up and I swear you'd like release all the demons or something like that, yeah. And we're definitely central to everything. We're near the Parliament buildings, the Byward Market, and all the cool things that you want to go see during the time that you're staying in Ottawa. Thanks for watching, guys, and I hope to see you soon.